Hola, ¿qué tal? Welcome to the channel made by two humans who live in Spain, where we want you to be happier traveling throughout the Iberian Peninsula with the help of our videos and of our self-guided walking tours. And welcome to the new era of Q&A videos here in the channel, which, as we recently announced, will appear here at the beginning of each month, provided we are not traveling. The next Q&A session will be on the first Sunday of April. If you have any questions for that video, feel free to ask. So let's get started with a roundup of travel news. If you are thinking of visiting Montserrat near Barcelona, please note that ticket sales, which were suspended during January for the annual maintenance of the funicular railways, have now resumed. On the 15th of this month, we will publish a new video with suggestions on what to do during an entire day in Montserrat, which we think will be very useful for anyone planning to visit such a special place. Once again, there were many questions during the last month about the tragic high-speed train accident in Andalusia in January and the situation of train transportation in Spain. Let's take it step by step. Trains are once again running through the accident site, and Andalusia is once again connected by high-speed train to the rest of Spain. The companies have readjusted schedules, and those who had purchased tickets have been notified accordingly, including ourselves. We have plenty of high-speed train tickets for the next coming months. We were asked if we were afraid to travel by train after the accident, and the answer is no. We will continue to travel as usual, but be very careful with short connections and also when using the metropolitan trains in Barcelona, which are going through a very difficult situation. We needed to leave Barcelona airport by train 2 weeks ago. The train runs every 30 minutes, so we waited for half an hour. The first train didn't show up. We waited for an hour. The second train didn't show up either. We ended up having to take a taxi. Be careful with that. And still in Barcelona, good news for the metro. We are sure that some of you watching this video have already tried in the past to buy a ticket from the Barcelona metro machines, and when you try to pay with a contactless card or your smartphone, you couldn't because this payment method wasn't enabled. Fortunately, it is now possible to pay contactless at all the Barcelona metro machines. So how is the EES, the entry-exit system, the new border control system going? From the looks of it, not very well. We are seeing very mixed reports. We will have to wait until April to see what the situation will be, as that is when the EES should be up and running permanently at all airports. As we have pointed out in previous videos, the lack of preparation to deal with the EES raises suspicions that the ETIAS may be postponed once again, but we still don't know anything for sure about that. We recently published a video about the rules for transporting luggage on the high-speed trains in Spain. And we wanted now to draw attention to an important point: the transport of knives, pocket knives and other similar objects. It is prohibited on trains. So if you travel with a pocket knife, be careful, you may lose it at the train access control. In the video we dedicated to Toledo, we talked about what to do if you buy a knife or a sword as a souvenir. Ask for it to be wrapped as a souvenir so you can take it on the train from Toledo to Madrid. But don't try to take any more trains with this souvenir, because it will be accepted on the Toledo to Madrid train, but not in any other trains. So leave Toledo for the last days of your stay in Spain. There is some very positive news regarding security checks to enter Terminal 4 at Madrid Airport. The new baggage scanners that were announced a long time ago are now in operation, meaning that you no longer need to remove liquids or electronic devices from your hand luggage. This should speed up waiting times at security. So, immigration requirements. The minimum wage in Spain has just gone up, which means that the minimum amount required by immigration authorities as proof of financial means has also increased. It is now 120 euros per person per day, with a minimum of 1,098 euros. All the details can be found in the video with questions about immigration. In the first comment below the present video, we will post links to all the videos and resources we mentioned along the program. And back to Barcelona, because with the placement of the piece that crowns the cross of the Tower of Jesus Christ, it was announced that Barcelona's Sagrada Familia has become the tallest temple in the world. Regarding the completion date of the work, the structural part should be ready by 2026, but the total completion, including the facade of the glory, will take until the next decade. Now, a mandatory reminder once again about the Alhambra. Buy tickets as far in advance as possible. Right now, there are already dates in June with limited ticket availability. Don't be that person that turns up at the Alhambra with no tickets. And finally, a trick for those with a short connection at any airport. Reserve a seat at the front of the plane, even if you have to pay for this choice. Sitting at the front can mean a difference of 20 minutes when leaving the aircraft. And now, let's get started with the questions. There are many questions this time, so we'll try to go quickly through them. So Juliana says, hello, I'm going on an exchange program in Malta and I am going to take a day trip to Barcelona. Will they ask me for proof of financial means? I'm afraid to go, but I've already bought my ticket because since I'm going to Malta first, won't have the required amount. Will I have to go through a check there? Since they are very strict about financial resources, if you can help me, please do. I'm very worried and rethinking the trip. You will have to meet the requirements of your destination country, in your case, Malta. There are no immigration controls between Malta and Spain. It's not a matter of strictness. There are rules and you need to comply with them. That's all. There is no reason to worry. The next question is from Le. Hello, we are going to Spain. We would like to buy your guidebook as we love trains and subways. Do most of your guides include this option? Hello, Le. Actually, we have a collection of guides that unravel some of the most important tourist cities in Spain. The guides always contain itineraries to be completed on foot, which we believe is the most beautiful way to get to know a city. They are self-guided walking tours. Mary wants to know, hi Tony, I am wondering about suggestions on travel insurance while I'm in Spain. Is there a video with suggestions? Hello Mary, we don't have a video on the topic as it is a very difficult one to deal with because it entirely depends on your country of residence and we cannot obviously cover the different options available even if only in the most important countries in the world. You will have to check customer reviews for the insurance you are interested on and make sure you are sufficiently covered should a serious medical issue arise. Once again, a reminder that travel insurance is not required by the immigration authorities in Spain. However, we think it's reckless to travel without one. The next question is from March. Love your videos as always. Just wanted to know if you have traveled to any of the following places in Spain in late December and early January, please, as I will be doing so later this year, and I'm wondering if any of these spots effectively shut down during this period of the year as it's not peak tourist season. And the places are Bilbao, León, Salamanca, Segovia, Toledo, Granada, Cádiz and Málaga. I have some flexibility at this stage to make some destination changes, so would love your advice. Thank you. Cheers from Australia. A big hug to our beloved Australia. March, thank you for your words. For 15 years, we've traveled so much in January, including most of the cities in your list. It is low season and we have to stretch our budget. Late December is busy because it's the run-up to Christmas. After the 6th of January, life starts again and tourist movement is at its lowest. I would not say the cities shut down, definitely not the tourist attractions, but weather can be rough in the northern coast or the Mediterranean. This year it rained like crazy almost the entire month, and it snowed in some of the cities of the interior you mentioned. Cádiz or Málaga are much more appealing outside winter. The other cities in your list are fine in January, but bear in mind it will be cold. We have a video on the channel where we explain how to check the weather forecast for Spain. Link to that video in the first comment below this one. All the best. Alex says, my name is Alex, love your channel. You help me a lot to plan my itinerary. I'll be in Spain in May. I will arrive in Barcelona and rent a car. Is it easy? Can you tell me if there is a counter to pick up the car or if there is a machine to get the instructions? I'm going to Andorra and I have a lot of questions about paying for additional insurance to leave the country, the type of fuel for the car and so on. Another question would be about purchasing extra luggage from the Aero train company. It's not possible to do this through the company's app. Do you know how I should do it? Thank you very much for your help. You guys are awesome. Hello Alex, you have several different questions. Let's take them one by one. Picking up the rental car should be easy, but you will have to follow the rental company's instructions. Depending on the company you choose, there may be a counter within the terminal, or you may have to go somewhere farther away. Be sure to check the video with tips for those who are going to rent a car in Spain or Portugal, where we answer several of the questions in your query about traveling outside Spain and fuel, among many others. Regarding the purchase of extra baggage with Aero, try the website, see if you can do it there. Best regards. Laura says, I am researching a trip back to Spain in 2027 and I am concerned about the hostility towards tourists in Barcelona. How is the situation there? Is it safe to go there or is it better to stay in less hostile regions? Laura, your concern is shared by many people, especially since the news reports back in 2025. It is essential to differentiate the tensions caused by the uncontrolled growth of tourism, we talked about this in the previous Q&A video, from the risk to personal safety. There have been protests not only in Barcelona but in Spain's main tourist cities against a predatory tourism model that is having a very negative impact on the lives of residents in the main tourist areas. For reasons unknown to us, the foreign media only showed small protests in Barcelona involving 200 people, when in other cities there were tens of thousands of people protesting in the streets. No one is protesting against tourism. The protests are directed against a specific model of tourism, where the profits of a few businessmen in the sector come at the expense of the city's residents. Now, The risk to tourists in Spain as a result of the protests is extremely low. We've never gone through one of them and we are the whole time on the road. The most you will see are posters and some symbolic protests in areas with very high tourist density. The greatest risk is not related to these protests but rather to pickpockets, and no one should miss the video we have dedicated to explaining how to protect yourself against them. We hope we have clarified the situation. You can help to minimize your impact on the cities you visit by not staying at Airbnb and by making a series of other decisions that we want to address in a future video. Best regards to you. Claudia says, "Hi Cecilia and Tony, my husband and I are going to Spain in April to celebrate our 30th wedding anniversary." Congratulations, Claudia. And we would like to know if the U-Rail pass is a good option for us. We are from Mexico. We are going to Madrid, Barcelona, Paris, Bruges, Switzerland and Italy. We will be returning to Madrid. Claudia, the U-Rail pass may be worthwhile for France, Belgium, Switzerland and Italy, but we are not specialists in those countries. We cannot give you an authoritative answer. However, in the case of Spain, no, it is not worthwhile. Unlike in other countries, high-speed train travel here requires seat reservations. So every time you use the pass, you will have to pay even more money. And that's not the worst of it. Making reservations online is a nightmare, and you may end up having to make them at the stations, risking not getting a seat on the train you want. For Spain, as we have said umpteenth times, it's best to buy high-speed tickets as far in advance as possible. Best regards. Francisco Javier says, "Hi Tony, as always your videos are wonderful and very informative. A few days ago I saw your video about the EES and found that it takes longer than normal to go through immigration, so I'm worried because I've already bought my flight to Madrid and then a connecting flight to Barcelona 2 hours later, which is what I usually do with the normal immigration process. So, will that 2-hour layover become too short considering the hiccups with the new EES registration process? Thank you very much for your response. Best regards to Cecilia." Hello Francisco Javier, thanks for your message. We are playing a bit of a guessing game here because everything surrounding the delays associated with the EES is shrouded in mystery. When the EES is working properly, it shouldn't take more than 10 minutes. You don't tell us which airline you are flying with, but if you are taking both flights with the same airline as part of the same ticket and you don't have to take care of your luggage in Madrid, we feel 2 hours should be enough time as long as there are no unforeseen disasters. As we said in the previous video, we believe it's better to be safe than sorry, and we'd rather wait than suffer the anxiety of a tight connection. We wish you the best on your layover. And our same follower again, "Hi Tony, I have another question for you. How long does it normally take for the high-speed train to travel from Jerez de la Frontera to Atocha station in Madrid?" I ask because I've been checking, and I guess because of the train accident a few days ago, travel times have been considerably longer. And apparently there is no direct train service between the two cities at the moment. I would appreciate it if you could clarify this matter for me, and if possible, give me an estimate on when travel times between cities in that area might return to normal, considering that I am traveling there in mid-May. Thank you very much for your response. Hello again, the train you mentioned takes 4 hours. It is actually an Alvia train that comes from Cadiz and does not run at high speed until it reaches Seville. When you asked us the question, rail traffic between Madrid and Andalusia was suspended as a result of the accident. But as we said earlier, it has now been reopened and travel times are back to normal. Remember our vital advice to never combine a train journey with an international flight due to the risk of missing the latter. Best regards to you. Hello Tony and Cecilia, I am writing to you because I am planning my route through Spain and would like to ask for some practical advice about transportation. I have been following you for over a year and your advice has always been very helpful. I have two questions. I arrive at Madrid airport at 11 a.m. and want to go directly to Toledo without going through the center of Madrid if possible. Do you think it's better to take an Uber, taxi, or is there a direct bus from the airport to Toledo? And if you recommend it, which option is usually faster and easier with luggage? After Toledo, I am traveling to Cordoba. I already bought the Ave Madrid Cordoba ticket, which leaves at 9:55 a.m. The problem is that the Toledo-Madrid train I saw leaves at 9:25 a.m., so I won't make it in time. Do you think it's feasible to take an Uber taxi from Toledo to Atocha early to arrive with time to spare, or do you recommend another alternative, an earlier bus, leaving the night before and sleeping in Madrid? Thank you for the content and for your help. Greetings from Argentina. Hello guys, let's get to your questions. There is no direct transportation from Madrid airport to Toledo. Uber or taxi are very convenient, but if you have money to burn, bear in mind that they will cost you a small fortune. The alternative is to travel to Atocha railway station to take the train to Toledo. As for the return journey, we wouldn't really risk traveling from Toledo to Madrid that morning to catch the train to Cordoba. It is better to sleep in Madrid so you can take things more calmly. All the best to you both. Carmelita says, my name is Carmelita and I would like to know if it's possible to contact you personally. I am 63 years old, I know Madrid, but I want to travel this year and to travel safely. I would appreciate your kind advice. Carmelita, you've already gotten in touch with us. We respond every day to the questions our channel members leave in the commentary boxes. We give absolute priority to their questions. So we have been thinking about creating a travel consulting service for some time, but life does not allow us to do more at the moment. If we launch it one day, we will let you know. In the meantime, take the opportunity to ask a question in a video related to your query. And if you want a warranted response, become a member of the channel. Best regards to you. Coco says, thank you for your advice, Tony. I just found out about two luxury train routes, one in Malaga and another on the Costa Verde. Rather than a question, it's more of a suggestion that you make a video of each route. Are there any other luxury routes like this? Hello, yes, there are actually 4 luxury routes. We'll put the link below so you can take a look. We pay for the vast majority of our trips out of our own pocket, and we don't plan on spending more than 10,000 euros on one of those train trips, which is what it would cost us for the two of us to take the cheapest 4-day trip. Only if we get an invitation, who knows, then we would talk about those trains. Best regards. Arturo says, good morning, Tony. Congratulations on your channel. It is very helpful for travelers. My name is Arturo from Mexico, and my wife and I are planning a very ambitious trip through Portugal and Spain in mid-April and May 2026. We want to use mainly trains and planes when necessary. I have looked for train routes along the north coast from Santiago de Compostela to San Sebastian via Oviedo, Bilbao, Santander, and I haven't found any direct routes. Is this correct, or I am not searching properly? If there are no practical train routes, what do you recommend? Hello Arturo, you are not searching wrong. No, there are no direct train routes. There are more or less regular train connections between Santander, Bilbao and San Sebastian, but there are many gaps in the rest of the route. If you are going to travel along the north coast with so many fantastic destinations between the sea and the mountains, we would recommend doing so in a rental car. You will get infinitely more out of your time than if you were to hop from bus to bus. And you will get to places where public transportation will not get you. Best regards. Next question. Good morning, Tony and Cecilia. My name is David. I am writing to you from Medellin, Colombia. First, I would like to congratulate you on your channel. I think all the information you share is excellent. I would like to ask you, my mother and I are planning to travel to Spain in May this year. My mother would like us to rent a car and visit some villages near Madrid on a 3-day trip, staying overnight in the towns we visit. Do you have any recommendations for towns to visit and stay? Thank you, best regards from Colombia. David, we would need to know what you mean by villages. Do you mean very small towns with less than 1,000 inhabitants? Or would you include some larger towns in that definition? I think you will find inspiration in the video we have on the best getaways from Madrid. Off the top of my head, Chinchón and El Escorial come to mind, and not far from Chinchón, Aranjuez is also worth a visit, although I would not label it a village. Best regards to you. Juan David says, Tony, thank you so much for your advice. My brother and I are traveling to Spain from Colombia on March 11th, and your videos have been a great help in getting organized. We're actually traveling to see soccer, Atleti and Barça specifically, but we also want to see a second division game on the weekend of March 14th, 15th, which could be in Albacete, Granada, Alicante or Malaga, depending on the schedule. In your opinion, to see the game and get to know a bit of the city in one day, which of these 4 do you think is the most viable option? We would be traveling from Madrid and returning the same day. Secondly, do you know anything about all-inclusive hotels in the Canary Islands? Thanks again. Hello, how are you? Regarding your first question, Granada and Malaga are not cities that lend themselves to being seen in a day, so perhaps Albacete and Alicante would be much better choices. From Madrid, you can easily reach both by high-speed train. And regarding your second question, there are hundreds of all-inclusive hotels in the Canary Islands, but there are many islands and you don't tell us which one you are interested in. Without that information, it's a bit difficult to help. Lucero says, good morning, Tony and Cecilia. I want to visit a city near Madrid when I arrive. What would you recommend, please? Lucero, there are many possibilities, not endless, but many. Since you asked, Toledo might be one of the best choices. Question from Florencia. Hi Tony, thanks for your always helpful advice. Can you recommend any towns to visit on the route from Cordoba to Seville? Can you mention a few that we could visit so we can decide whether to rent a car or take the direct train? Thank you. Florencia, we've never covered that route by car. We've always taken the high-speed train, but to mention a few places, there is the castle in Almodóvar del Río, Écija and Carmona. It depends on whether you have many days for that trip through Andalusia and on the remaining of your itinerary. Best regards to you. Question from Carlos. How dangerous is it to get to Barcelona airport? Well, the answer is very simple. Not dangerous at all, but always be on the lookout for pickpockets, not only in Barcelona, but in any tourist city in Spain. A Chinese name, Ling Ting Feng, says, I purchased a AVE train ticket for April the 3rd from Granada to Madrid. I've seen a lot of information online. Some people say this route is currently suspended with no confirmed date for service to resume, while others say the route is still operating normally. Could you please tell me what the current correct information is? On the date you left your comment, the route was suspended. As we announced earlier, it has been reopened since trains are operating normally. Carmen says, "Hi Tony, I'm going to Barcelona at the end of this year. I'm watching your videos of trips nearby. I also wanted to visit Andorra. Could you tell me how to cross the border?" Hi Carmen, excellent question, because the way to enter Andorra has changed slightly for those who do not have a European Union passport. Before, you would arrive at the border and enter, as simple as that. You would pass through the border control, first the Spanish one and then the Andorra control, but no one would stop you. Now, if you want the count of days you stay in the Schengen area to stop the moment you enter Andorra, when you pass through the Spanish National Police, you have to stop and indicate that you want your departure from Spain to be registered in the EES. And when you leave Andorra, you will do the same thing again, but in that case, you will ask for your entry to be registered. In Andorra, there are no machines like at Spanish airports, so you have to ask for this to be noted at the checkpoint where entries and exits are controlled. I imagine you've already seen our videos about Andorra, where you will discover there are countless places to see and that you will need at least 5 days to do so. Best regards to you. And now a quick coffee break for that energy we need to keep going. If this video was useful to you, you can support our work in 2 different ways. You can invite us to a virtual coffee, or you can become a channel member. Links to those 2 ways of supporting the channel in the first comment below. Back to the questions. Our dear friend Erguille says, "Good morning Tony and Cecilia. I just got back from my second trip to Barcelona, 3 weeks this time. I'm very tempted to go in August to enjoy the longest solar eclipse of the year on the 12th. The totality will be in Valencia, but Barcelona will have an eclipse very close to totality, and at 61 years old, this could be my last chance. Actually, you will have another chance next year. Would it be advisable to stay in Barcelona and travel to Valencia for the astronomical event? I wouldn't mind returning to Barcelona late at night, and since it's the city where my daughter lives, the choice is pretty obvious. To top it off, the idea is to stay until the first days of September to enjoy Cirque du Soleil in Barcelona. Regards from Aruba and continued success. I haven't become a channel member because I'm saving those funds for travel. Just kidding." Well, the solar eclipse is tempting. I imagine you've already seen the video we have dedicated to the 3 solar eclipses coming up. If you have the chance to see it from the totality from Valencia, go ahead and take advantage of that opportunity. If you were unlucky enough to have cloudy skies that day, at least you were in a very interesting city. All the best to you, and don't worry, becoming a member is completely voluntary. We don't force anyone. It's just a way of supporting the channel. Pedro says, "Hello, we love your channel. I have a friend who is coming to visit his parents in Portugal in the summer. We are from Oviedo. Is there a quick, reliable and safe way to get there so we can meet up? Thank you, best regards." Pedro, it all depends on which part of Portugal they are visiting. Traveling from the Algarve is not the same as traveling from Porto. Since you don't give us that information, it's not very easy to help you accurately. One possibility, if you are in Lisbon, is to fly to Madrid and from there continue by high-speed train to Oviedo. The trip will take almost the entire day. Next, greetings Tony and Cecilia, this is Ivan from Caguas, Puerto Rico. I'm returning to Spain in mid-September for 15 days. I arrive in Madrid at 7:15 a.m. and I'm thinking of taking a train from 10 to 11 a.m. to Oviedo as a base hotel, and from there visiting Gijón, Avilés, Cudillero, Arriondas, Cangas de Onís. Would 5 days be enough for these places in Asturias? Thank you very much for being Spain's best tourism ambassador. Ivan, In 5 days, you can see quite a lot. Everything you mentioned and a little more, as long as you travel by private car. If you depend on public transportation, you will need considerably more time. Best regards, and thank you very much for your kind words. Lorenzo says, hi Tony, we're going to be in Granada from May the 10th to 14th. My question is, what is the weather usually like in May? Have you ever been there in May? Thanks and greetings from San Antonio, Texas. Lorenzo, May is spring, but the weather you will encounter will depend 100% on how spring turns out that year. We've been there once in June and it was quite hot, probably not Texas hot, but hot for our standards. We talk about how to find the weather forecast for any destination in Spain, including Granada, in the video we mentioned earlier, which we've linked below. That should help with your planning. Next question. Hi Tony, hi Cecilia. I am Sofia from Argentina. Thank you so much for all the recommendations. Your channel is fantastic, very entertaining and always with accurate information. I wanted to ask, since I'm flying to Madrid on March the 11th to visit Barcelona, I have a European Union passport which expires on July 26. I need to know if I can enter with that passport, as I have heard that some places require a validity of 6 months. I was hoping to skip the EES and take the train on the same day, considering the 4 hours between the plane's arrival and the train's departure that you recommend. I am always grateful for your invaluable help. Hi Sofia, thank you very much for your kind words. If you have a Spanish passport, you can enter Spain with it even if it has expired. Another thing is the airlines, which will probably want your passport to be valid in order to let you board. You shouldn't have any problems. That requirement for longer validity periods is for foreigners, for non-European nationals. Best regards. Our friend Olgita says, hello Tony and Cecilia, thank you very much for the wonderful, helpful information. Love your channel. You are the best. Our family, 6 adults and a child, will travel to Spain in September. How can we find a taxi from the airport or the train station which will seat all of us? Thank you very much. Hello dear friend, you may have heard us say, help us help you. I'm sorry, but you forgot to mention where are you flying to. That makes it harder for us to give you precise advice. But if you're flying to Madrid or Barcelona, you should know that there are large taxis that seat 7 passengers. You will find the details on how they operate in our videos on transportation from both airports. All the very best to you. Renato says, dear Tony and Cecilia, taking advantage of your excellent tips, my wife and I visited Madrid and Barcelona in 2023. In May, we will be taking another trip to Europe. We will be going to Greece in the first week, and then in the second, we will be visiting Seville. I purchased the airline tickets throughout Iberia before watching your video about the EES. On the way there, we have a connection in Barajas with an estimated layover of approximately 90 minutes. We arrive at T4S and depart for Athens from T4. The price to rebook the second leg is almost 1,000 euros for the couple. What is your suggestion? Try to change the connection at check-in or try to risk the connection in Madrid. Do you have any other suggestions? Greetings from Campinas, São Paulo in Brazil. Renato, we don't think it's possible to change the connection at check-in, but it doesn't hurt to try. 1,000 euros is a fortune, so we don't see any alternative other than to risk the connection in Barajas. As we said at the beginning of the video, try to grab a seat at the front of the aircraft to gain a few valuable minutes on landing and have a great trip. Yaji says, hi Tony and greetings to Cecilia. I wanted to ask your recommendation for taking the train from Barcelona Sand Station to Madrid. We want to go to the Bernabeu Stadium and the Palacio first. You mean the Palacio Real. We only have that day to see Madrid and then we have to return to Barcelona. Is it safe to arrive at the Barcelona station at night? Thanks, Tony. Hi, Yaji. In answer to your question, yes, Sand Station is safe, although it is currently undergoing renovations and is quite confusing. We are very saddened when someone tells us they plan to go to Madrid for the day or to Barcelona for the day. The trip and the money are definitely yours, but since you have asked for our opinion, we think it is a complete waste of time and money that would be better spent staying in Barcelona and exploring the city or another nearby city such as Girona or Tarragona. Best regards to you. Question from Beatriz. Hi Tony, first of all, thank you so much for all the content you share. In 2025, my husband and I traveled to Spain and visited several cities, following your videos as our guide 100%. It was a wonderful experience and she gives us quite a few details about how the experience was, which I'm going to skip now. We are so happy, Beatriz, that you had such a nice trip. For 2026, we would like to visit another country and we are deciding between England and Portugal. We love walking trips, exploring nature and history, castles and charming villages, a similar style to what we had in Spain. We would like to ask you which one you would recommend we visit and why. We are leaning towards Portugal because we know we could also have your guide to help us plan it, and we are not so sure we would find the same support for England. We would love to hear your opinion and any advice you can give us on which one might be best for our relaxed travel style. Thank you very much in advance. Beatriz, we have been to most countries in Europe and there isn't one we would not return to. Both Portugal and England have stunning heritage and sensational places to visit. We could not choose between the two, but as you pointed out, if you choose Portugal, you will find lots of information here and we can answer any questions you may have. In case it helps tip the balance, in general terms, a trip to Portugal will be cheaper than a trip to England. Best regards to you. And now it's Susana. Hi Tony and Cecilia. I have 2 days in Madrid from March 21st to 23rd to visit a friend. I booked the Ibis Las Ventas hotel because I'm an Accor member and the price was good. Is it a good location? I'd also like a suggestion for a breakfast place serving eggs and bread in Plaza de España. I love you guys. Good luck with the channel. Susana, we've already been to that hotel. It's not in the heart of Madrid, but the location is not bad and it is well connected by subway. We don't have a detailed survey of breakfast options in Madrid, which is a big city, but asking at your hotel is always a great idea. Best regards to you. Question from Wagner. Hello friends, how are you? In July, I will be visiting Spain and leaving from Barcelona. I will visit Valencia, Granada and Seville respectively. Besides buses, are there high-speed trains or domestic flights on this route? Or is the only option to go to Madrid and leave from there? Best regards and success to the channel. Wagner, leaving Barcelona, you can go to Granada and Seville by direct high-speed train without changing trains or by plane, to Valencia by train or by bus. Remember to buy your high-speed train tickets as far in advance as possible. Armindo, friend of the channel, says hello you two. We will be in Portugal in September and would like to take a day trip to Óbidos from Lisbon. However, we are unable to find information on how to get there. Can you help us? Thank you. Dear Armindo, we haven't been to Óbidos on our own, only as part of a tour. Actually, I have been, but it was many years ago, in the 90s. So we cannot share any first-hand information for the time being. Viviane says, I arrived in Madrid in May at 12 noon and would have to catch a train to Seville that same day. What is the best time for me to buy this train ticket? Well, we always recommend leaving a margin of 4 hours between the scheduled arrival time of the flight and the departure time of the train. The next question is from Luisa. Good morning, I really like you guys. You inspire a lot of trust. I'm going on a cruise from Brazil to Europe, passing through Tangier in Morocco. Which eSIM should I buy? Can I use it on the ship or only on land? Thank you very much. Thank you, Luisa. Here on the channel, we recommend Airalo and Olafly eSIMs, and we have a video explaining how they work. There are discounts for those who book using our links, which we will post in the first comment below the video. You will need to purchase one eSIM for Morocco and another one for Spain. They can only be used on land or when the ship is in port. They will not work when the ship is out in the ocean. Roberto says, congratulations on the excellent informative video, everyone. I would like to know how long the lines are at immigration at Madrid airport after the implementation of EES. Are there long delays? Thank you, best regards. Thanks a lot, Roberto. We would like to answer your question, but we have no way of knowing. We will need to have an informant at the airport. We have received a wide range of reports here on our channels, from normal to long lines. It is important to understand that one day everything may be fine and the next day there may be a problem and long lines may form. As we never tire of insisting, it is essential that anyone paying for a connection take extreme care with the time available to complete it. The next question is from Sons Aleatorios. Hello, congratulations on the channel. What is the current situation with the railway line between Zaragoza and Teruel? Hello, trains have not been running for a year now because the line is being modernized. It is estimated that they may return in April, but nothing has been confirmed. User 777 Fulano says, excellent videos and extremely useful. However, I've had trouble organizing my trip in April 2026. We'll be there for a month and want to visit cities such as Zaragoza, Valencia, Sevilla and Granada, but since almost all trains depart from or arrive in Madrid, I haven't been able to figure out the transfers. What can I do? Thank you very much. We don't quite understand your questions. There are trains connecting Zaragoza and Valencia directly to Andalusia without stopping in Madrid. And from Seville to Granada, you also have direct trains that do not pass through Madrid. Take a look at the video where we show you what the high-speed network in Spain is like, and also check out the list of ready-to-use itineraries where we use the high-speed train to get around whenever possible. Luth says, hi Tony, this is the second time I'm contacting you as you helped me a lot last time. I'm traveling to Spain again, but this time on a cruise passing through the islands of Tenerife, Palma and Tangier in Africa. I've already seen your video of Palma, but I cannot find one of Tenerife. So it would be very helpful if there is one. I look forward to your comment. Luz, we have been to Tenerife, but we don't have any videos about the island yet. We'd love to make one, but for now, it's not one of our top priorities. Marina says, Tony, would you be so kind as to tell us how to get from the Renfe train station in Atocha to the hotel transfer stop in Terminal 4 at Barajas Airport? Marina, the most direct ways are by taxi, ride-sharing service or express bus, which stops quite close to that stop. As soon as you leave the express bus, ask the driver where the stop for the shuttles to the hotels is. You can find everything described with images in the video about leaving the airport, link below. Olga says, hi Tony, your advice is great, thank you. I listened to the answers, but I have a question. To go from Granada to Valencia, is it faster to go to Madrid by train? You replied to a traveler who was going to Cordoba and changing trains there. We'll be there on August. Olga, as there is currently no direct train connecting the two cities, you have two options. Travel to Madrid, where you will have to change stations from Atocha to Chamartin, and that takes time, and then continue on to Valencia. Or travel to Cordoba and without leaving the station, take a direct train to Valencia. There are a few per day. You have to see what works out best for you. And again, Olga says, I have another question. We want to buy tickets from Ronda to Malaga and we can't. We also looked for a tour from Ronda to Malaga and couldn't find one either. They are all the other way around. We planned the trip for April the 1st in Marbella, April the 2nd in Ronda, and from April 4th to 6th in Malaga. Well, hello again. The Damas company, which operates the bus on the Ronda to Malaga route, doesn't put tickets on sale very far in advance. Try a few weeks before your trip. We don't know of any tours from Ronda to Malaga, nor we would recommend them. You need more than a day trip to see the basics of Malaga. And the next question is from Gladys. Hi Tony, greetings to you both. First of all, thank you for all the information. Last year we went to southern Spain for a month and a half and had a great time thanks to your advice. Now we want to go to northern Spain, starting in San Sebastian and ending in Santiago de Compostela. We want to do it for a month in June. Can we do it by train or would we have to rent a car? And can you recommend a place to stay where we could visit places in the surrounding areas? Sorry for all the questions. Best wishes to you both. From Florida. Hi Gladys, we don't have anything ready to share about the trip you want to take, but the ideal thing, and we replied to a similar question earlier, would be to do it in a rental car, stopping at multiple places along the way, as there are countless fascinating places to visit, and you will have plenty of time to do so if you are driving a car. The train is not an option for that particular itinerary. Fernando tells us, Hi Tony, I arrived in Madrid from Mexico on January the 24th and indeed the machines, the EES machines, were not working, so we all had to go through with a passport control agent. On this occasion I was very nervous as my final destination was Bilbao and I only had 1 hour and 20 minutes to go through control and make my connection. I was pleasantly surprised to find a special gate for urgent connections, which allowed me to complete the entire process in a timely manner. I think it's very important to let people know about this line for those of us who travel with the stress of very short connections. We are glad everything went well for you, Fernando, and thank you for sharing your experience. We don't want anyone to think that this express line is a guarantee of success for short connections, but it's always worth telling helpers that you have a short connection in case there is a possibility of being processed more quickly at that airport and terminal. Not all terminals and all airports have the same layout and the same fast gates. Julian says, Hi, just a quick question. I'm going to Lisbon for 5 days and haven't booked breakfast at the hotel. Can you recommend somewhere to have breakfast? I will be staying in the Rua da Vitória area. Thanks and best regards. Hello, we don't have a map of places to have breakfast in Lisbon, but there are lots in the area where you are going to stay. I personally would have a light breakfast, would go to the Manteigaria, which is nearby, and have a coffee with a pastel de nata. Extraordinary. Tanya says, a big hug to both of you. Thank you for such informative videos. I would like to know your opinion. In October, I will be visiting the Basque Country. Where do you think I should stay? In Mundaka or Bermeo? And Zumaya or Deba? So I can see the Flix. I have already watched your videos of that area and have made a note of the places that interested me. Thank you very much for all your effort and support in helping us travel around beautiful Spain. Tanya, if you want to see the Flix, for those unfamiliar, it's a wonderful geological formation you can see in that part of the coast. We would recommend staying in Zumaya, where it is right on the beach. If you want to go to San Juan de Gaztelugatxe, it is closer to Bermeo than to Mundaka, but both places are good choices as well. Question from Mercedes. Hello, your videos are very nice, Tony. They encourage us to visit Spain. Which season has the nicest weather? Around March. Thank you. Mercedes, I don't know if you've seen what we've said so many times about helping us so we can help you. The way you phrase your question makes it very difficult to answer. It all depends on what you're looking for. The beach is not the same as the snow. In general, spring and fall are safe bets. March is a period of transition between winter and spring. Check out the video where we take a look at the weather in Spain month by month. Hello, Cecilia and Tony. We are Monica and Pablo from Argentina. In September, we will travel to Spain, and from Madrid, we will go to Córdoba, Seville, and Cádiz. We would like to return from Cádiz to Madrid by train, but we see that there is no high-speed train from there. Should we take a train to Seville and then take the AVE, or take an Alvia train directly from Cádiz to Madrid? I still cannot find this route to buy tickets for, perhaps because there is still a long time to go. Thank you as always, and best wishes from Argentina. Hello, you have two options, either the Alvia from Cádiz to Madrid, which, as we said earlier, runs on a high-speed line from Seville onwards, or what we always do when we go to Cádiz, which is to take a local train from Cádiz to Seville, and then from Seville, where there are many more companies and timetables to choose from, a train to Madrid, or in our case, to Zaragoza. Regional train tickets only go on sale a few weeks in advance. High-speed train tickets go on sale months in advance. Best regards to you. Estelina says, what about Seville day trip from Madrid? Well, you need at least 3 nights in Seville for the basics, so for us it's a definite no-no. Question from a user whose name I cannot pronounce. Thanks for your good channel. I have a question about connecting trains traveling from Paris to Barcelona. In Lyon, we changed from France. Spelling of the question is a bit hard to read, but he's changing trains. In Lyon, it is only 35 minutes between arrival of the French train and departure of the Spanish train. What to do at the station? Can we go direct from the French train to the Spanish, or do we have to check in again? We have no experience with connective trains. Best regards. Hello, we don't have any experience of train connections in France, but you will no doubt find out as soon as you disembark in Lyon. You have plenty of time for that connection. Lynn says, for your questions and answers video, how do you get to the airport using the metro? Our flight leaves at 10:20 on Sunday morning, May the 3rd. We plan to book a hotel for the night of May the 2nd, but how you get to the airport will determine where that hotel will be. Thank you. Lynn, we need to know which airport you intend to fly from, whether it's a domestic or an international flight. If it's international, you should reach the airport by 7:20, which might complicate your arrival by metro. In the videos we have on airport transportation in Madrid and Barcelona, you will see the details of the metro operation and other alternatives. Maria says, hola Tony and Cecilia, thank you for another wonderful informative video. We are traveling to Andalusia in May and intend to travel by train from Madrid to Cádiz, Seville, Córdoba, Granada and Málaga. Can you provide any information about the impact of the recent storm flooding to bus and train services for these cities? Thank you so much, Maria. Maria, as of late February 2026, the transport situation in Andalusia is steadily returning to normal after a very difficult start to the year. The region was hit by a succession of storms and a major rail disaster in mid-January, but recovery is well underway. You should notice no noticeable impact in May. And that was the final of a long session of questions and answers. We'll be back here next month. In the meantime, make the most of our travel tips and have a great time if you are coming to Spain or Portugal. Hasta el próximo mes.